Hi everyone, Gigi with y'all. So today is going to be the first advanced English video. الإنجليزية المتقدمة. I'm going to start this series with some Old English. We're going to use a poem by Shakespeare, and it's a very famous poem in English. Most English speakers, native speakers, know this of this poem. They will recognize some parts of it. I'm going to read it aloud and play the text on the screen, and afterwards I'm going to explain parts of it that may be confusing. And this will help reach a new level of English in understanding classical English. All right, let's do it. Sonnet number 18 by William Shakespeare. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometimes declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. By thy eternal summer, but thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growst. So long as men can breathe, or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. So Shakespeare, he lived in the late 1500s and early 1600s. His works were very popular at the time of his life, and they continue to be popular to this day as the great literature of the West, of America, of Europe. And every American student will read some Shakespeare in school at some point. So the first two lines, we call this a couplet in poetry. Poetry means الشعر. It says, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Shall, in this context, means shall I, shall, like should I, and thee, T-H-E-E, is an old-fashioned way of saying you. And sometimes we joke, me and my friends, like using this Old English. It's not used today, but a lot of these language structures are known because of Shakespeare. So thee means you. So we can infer that the author is very much in love with the subject of the poem, and he is comparing her to a summer's day. Thou is another way of saying you, and art is close to the word are, A-R-E, meaning are. You are more lovely and more temperate. So we might know the word temperature, but temperate in terms of weather means even. It means reliable and nice. It means a good temperature. So it's a metaphor here, and he's saying that the woman whom he loves is better than a summer's day. He says, rough winds do shake the darling buds of May. Here he uses the word do right after the nouns, the subject of the sentence, rough winds, sort of as an emphasis to restate, rough winds do indeed shake the darling buds of May. Buds, we can assume, means flowers or the beginnings of flowers. And summer's lease metaphorically means the time of summer, its length. Hath, all too short a date. Hath meaning has. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines. So here we can guess the eye of heaven is the sun. The sun is Shams. And often is his gold complexion dimmed. Often is frequently, and his gold complexion. Complexion is the color of your skin or how you look in general. So you have a fair complexion, you have fair skin. A darker complexion means you have olive or darker skin. And dimmed, meaning fall, like the lights have dimmed. And every fair from fair sometimes declines. In my interpretation, fair means everything beautiful. Fair can mean, in the olden days, they would say a fair maiden. This means a pretty woman. So here we can infer that everything that is beautiful sometimes declines, according to Shakespeare. Everything beautiful fades, beauty fades. By chance, or nature's changing course untrimmed. He's saying by chance, like an accident, or by the path of nature, jara, الطبيعة, nature's changing course untrimmed. To trim is like to cut hair, or to trim a tree or a bush or a plant. So he's implying that this is the way nature goes. But thy means your in Old English. Eternal summer shall not fade. So he's saying that the beauty of his love is eternal. It never ends, and it shall not fade. It shall not die out. It will never disappear. Nor, meaning, I'll explain this further in another video. Nor, it means not. Lose possession of that fair thou owest. That fair, meaning that beauty. Thou is you, again. And ost, here we can guess it means you own or you have. Nor shall death brag, thou wanderest in his shade. To brag is التفخر. It's to boast, like he bragged about his accomplishments. I did this. I came in first place. That's to brag. So death shall not brag, thou wanderest in his shade. So death, as if it were a person, and it has a shade like a tree, ظلم. It's a shadow. And to wander is التجول. So أنا كندوز في الشارع في زنقة. I wander. I go around. So he's saying death, he's pretty much saying death has no power over you. It cannot brag about you going in its shadow, in its shade. When in eternal lines to time thou growst. So eternal lines to time. Eternal meaning forever, and perhaps lines meaning lines in your face when you grow old. We call these age lines. I have some under my eyes. And to time thou growst. This apostrophe is another way of saying, it's adding these two parts of the word together. You can just guess. We always guess growing up reading this literature. It means grow. You grow, pretty much. The same with wandrest. It's just a funny way of saying you wander. So long as men can breathe. طالما ما يعني طالما as men can breathe or eyes can see. These are conditions. As long as. So long lives this, and this gives life to thee. And this meaning, we don't know, maybe his love or her beauty or the eternity of her memory on his heart. And thus, هكذا, she will always be alive in his heart. Let me know, guys, if you enjoyed this type of content. I plan to do more advanced videos and intermediate videos as well as beginner videos. I'm going to pick up the pace from now on, inshallah, and hopefully get more content to you guys soon. Bislama.